I also want to take this opportunity to condole the families of those young boys, and we want to just remind Mr. Ruto about what he said when there were those Yala liver bodies when we were campaigning. I remember very well he shouted loudly that what we saw in Yala liver will never be seen again in this country. What we are now seeing is worse than what had even happened that time. These are young people who only did something that is normal to young people, associating themselves with social media, which is not a big crime. But what we are wondering is, how inhuman are you, Mr. Ruto? Please, we know you are a parent, but can you imagine what we are doing to other parents? What we are asking you is what exactly Mr. Justin Muturi asked you yesterday. Please stop these abductions and killing youths in this country. You should apologize, and you should not even be associated with any peace process in DRC or even Haiti, because what is happening here is almost even more than what is happening there. Tafadhali, we are very ashamed to have been involved in campaigning for you to be elected as a president because of what is happening. Everybody who voted for you is not sleeping in peace because of remembering that they brought somebody who is inhuman, who is making other families to cry day and night. And what I want to say, lastly, Bwana Ruto, tafadhali, mambo ya mauaji, mtu yoyote ashafanya vile wewe umefanya. Actually, you should be packing, kwa sababu watu wote wanaona 2027 ikiwa mbali sana, ndio wakupeleke nyumbani. Just be assured that you have booked your ticket to going back to Sugoi because of what you are doing with your own people. Na everybody knows hii mambo yote is sanctioned from State House. Hakuna mtu ajui na hakuna mtu mnaweza ndanganya. Watu wote wananchi wanajua hii mambo inakuwa sanctioned from State House. Hao watu wanasema ati hawajui askari, ni kweli. Askari wanajua, lakini hawezi ongea. Lakini behind the back wanasema hiyo kundi ambayo inaua watu wanajua directions wanapata kutoka State House. Watu wanajua, sio hakuna wajinga hapa Kenya. Watu wanajua what is exactly happening. Na wewe tunataka kuambia mambo tena hapa kwa mortuary, tunasikia wengine wanafurugwa ati kwa sababu wameoneshana mili hapa. Tunataka kuambia Sakaja, hii mortuary ni ya Nairobi County, na hapa hakutakiwi kuwa ukora hata kidogo, because we are suspecting mili inafichwa hapa mpaka maneno ikichacha kotini inatokea tena, because as it is mili inakuwa discovered hapa kwa mortuary namna gani, lazima ni kufichwa, inafichwa. Kwa hivyo city county should not associate themselves with the long doings of the police ambayo wanaua watu.
One thing, mwishowe hapa pametajwa mambo ya DRC na hata Haiti. I want the country to know that had William Ruto allowed Uhuru Kenyatta to continue with the mission in Eastern DRC, the hostilities we are seeing over Ngoma and Eastern DRC would perhaps not even have happened. But because of bad faith, and it will be recalled that DRC joined the East African community, and the main reason for that integration, including Somalia thereafter, was to make sure there's peace in the region and therefore development. The process had to be moved to Angola. What William Ruto did was to ensure that Uhuru Kenyatta was not facilitated because he was a chief mediator. was not facilitated, so the whole thing deteriorated and taken over by SADC and moved to Angola. This is some of the truth. So don't even assume that William Ruto can go to Kinshasa. He can't. Our own embassy was torched. This is not the kind of international relations we expect to see in our country. Kenya has been respected internationally until now. Even that virtual meeting they wanted to hold, I'm sure they didn't, because Felix Tshisekedi, whom I personally know, said no. The first handshake ya Raila na Uhuru enabled me to go and negotiate between President Kabila and President Tshisekedi. And they formed a coalition. And the DRC eventually joined the community. Now, even the entire East African community is at the verge of collapse. So this is how bad this whole thing is. Of course, we took our position as opposition. We are against that deployment of Kenyans, as Eugene is saying, 12,000 kilometers away in Haiti to stop gangsters. And you allow your own gangsters to kill your own people. As I said earlier, this will not go away. I propose that the Law Society of Kenya takes the lead in the formation of this commission of inquiry, because you can't leave it to William Ruto, because he's an interested party. We thank you.
Okay, maybe the first question is, quickly, given that Babayo has raised it, in that court proceedings that you are there with Mheshimiwa Eugene and others, are we likely to see you fronting the judge to somebody like Sakaja? Because you see, it's not a coincidence that the day the IG and the DCI boss are coming to court, two bodies are found here. So are we likely to see Sakaja being someone to give some answers? And then secondly, given that you are toured this particular area, is there a shortage? Were people fired? What have you established?
Well, on that bit about people being fired and being intimidated or victimized, we are still gathering concrete truth about it. The evidence, the facts, get the facts, and if they are clear, so that you are not engaged in speculative approach to this very key matter, then we'll deal with it. Of course, these matters are live in court. And since they are live in court, this is why I'm suggesting that LSK takes the leadership in terms of establishing this commission of inquiry.
My name is Ode Francis from Citizen.
Yes, sir.
For the families, wamekuja hapa asubuhi sana ili kuweza kuhakikisha wameweza kushughulikiwa. Up to now we have not seen any folks wana tetesi kwamba wameulizwa wamekuja kufanya nini hapa. Maybe wakati mliingia mlijaribu kufind out kwamba wameweza kushughulikiwa, na kama wameshughulikiwa kwa namna vipi?
Familia wamekuwa hapa tangu juzi, tumewaona hapa na wengine bado wako hapa. Mimi kama party leader wa Wiper, vijana wao wawili nadhani wanatoka Kitui County, moja Kitui na moja Machakos, Katangi. So governor wa counties are Machakos and Kitui. I want to ask them to relieve the pain, because obviously we have now to bury these young people. In the meantime, we're also standing with the family, the two families and the three families, because even the other two families are so caring. Hawataki hata washughulikiwe kabla hao wengine kama huyu Steve Kavangi, Kavingo kupatikana na Kalani vile vile. Kwa hivyo the families are in solidarity with each other, and we also as the leaders, we are with them. Whatever it takes, we will stand with them and help them where we can, because clearly they're on their own. Kama ambavyo nimesema, hakuna anataka kuwashughulikia.
Na swali.
Maybe just to add from what my colleague here asked, the court has powers to summon anyone in this country who will assist into the inquiry of these deaths, disappearances, and extrajudicial killings. As you are aware, there are several people who have been summoned. And you remember Wakili Ndegwa made a specific application. Certain leaders in the broad-based government who are alleging that these Kenyans are abducting themselves. And some of those have been summoned to court. And let them come and shed light. Led by Kimani Ichung'wah, Francis Atwoli, Didmas Baraza, Kenneth Lusaka, and I think we had Waluke and others, those who allege that Kenyans are abducting themselves. Today we ask them, did Justus abduct and kill himself? Did Martin abduct and kill himself? The young men lying in these cold rooms here. Those who are trivializing this issue of extrajudicial killings and abductions will answer to the court because they have been summoned to do so. On the issue of the city county of Nairobi and Sakaja maybe interfering in the operations of these institutions because perhaps some workers here gave more information than they were supposed to. Sakaja is not above the law. If we get evidence, as His Excellency has said, that there's some collusion here between these institutions and the police to hide bodies here, and victims who have been abducted, they too will be summoned to court. They will answer. They'll have their day in court. Because if this turns out to be not just a place for storing bodies, but a crime scene where the police are colluding to hide bodies, abduct people, kill them, and dump them here, then those behind that, including the leadership of this county and this country, will be answerable. Thank you.
Thank you. Nashukuru sana.